Good afternoon and welcome to NLP Liverpool's series of lunchtime learnings, where this time we'll be looking at some techniques to stave off stress and beat burnout. There are many reports that clearly show how stress and workload lead to burnout. In a recent report from Deloitte, burnout levels of up to 77% were reported by professionals. The impact on businesses is huge. Poor quality work, extended time to complete tasks, quiet quitting, lost days due to ill health, and a high staff turnover. All of these affect an individual's mental and physical health and the company's bottom line. In a wider context, the reported cost to the economy is anywhere between 40 billion and 120 billion pounds a year. It's a massive problem. So just stop for a moment and ask yourself, how many of your colleagues are experiencing burnout at the moment or high stress levels? How many working days has your company lost due to stress this year alone? And what can be done about it? Well, fortunately, there are some simple, effective, and practical ways to stave off stress and beat burnout. Over the last 18 years, I've been working with senior executives and board-level directors to help them to, as one of my clients says, keep their head on, or simply be at the top of their game and more effective for longer. Of course, it's important to get some perspective on things because stress does have a place in motivating us. So let's take a little look at this now. The stress versus performance link. So no matter what level we work at, stress plays an important part in our motivation, going from a low stress to a high stress, low performance to high performance. And without stress, most people wouldn't really have the motivation to get the important stuff done. We're down here in the boredom, depression part. As stress increases, then our attention increases and we get a little bit more done. We feel more interested in doing things. Of course, there is the optimal level of stress. Stress that's just enough to keep us motivated, keep us interested, and get things done. If we go too much stress, then we experience anxiety. If we experience the anxiety for too long and too much stress for too long, it can lead to a complete meltdown and burnout. So it's important to keep the stress in the optimal range. So that's stress, but what about burnout? Well, in terms of burnout, it's defined as a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. It can also be contagious, particularly from the top down. Any research will tell you one of the best ways to reduce stress is to get control of your workload. It's a great idea, yet when there's so much to do, there may be only a certain amount of control that you can have. So what do we do? Well, this is where the Covey quadrant approach comes in. In the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey makes the suggestion of sorting our tasks into 4 categories. Those that are urgent, those that are non-urgent, those that are important, and those that are not important. And of course, there's the quadrants within those. So there's the A quadrant, which is highly urgent, highly important tasks. There's the B quadrant, which is the not urgent, but important tasks. Then there's the C quadrant, which are urgent, but not important tasks. And then finally, there's the non-urgent and non-important tasks. So what sort of tasks fall into each quadrant? Well, the A quadrant is the crises, the pressing problems, and anything with a short deadline. For example, proposals, some private client calls, follow-ups, etc. The B tasks, this is planning, prevention, relationship building, new opportunities. For myself, it's writing articles, training materials, daily email tasks, etc. The C tasks, these are interruptions, some phone calls, some meetings, and if you're the only person in the office that can change the toner in the printer, well, it's changing the toner in the printer. It's urgent for somebody else, but not necessarily for you. It's not important for you, but it is important for somebody else. So it's these distractions and interruptions. And the D quadrants, this is the distractions, the trivia, the clickbait, the YouTube. Oh, and have you seen that cat on Facebook? Oh, it's great. It's really good. Stephen Covey theorizes that we should spend the bulk of our time, though, on quadrant B tasks, which is great. And that would be the ideal. All those non-urgent, important things that we need to do. Great to spend our time there. It's a wonderful theory, though for most of us, these tasks lack a sense of urgency, meaning that we procrastinate until the task is genuinely urgent and moves into a quadrant A anyway. Then it gets done out of necessity. There is, of course, a way around this, and to help give you some practical balance on those A tasks. So the first thing to do is to procrastinate with volition. So what I'd like you to do is to create a list of today's to-dos, or your to-dos for the week or even the month, and write them in whichever quadrant the task belongs in. Then look at all these tasks in quadrant A. How many of them are truly urgent? Here's the test. Are there any real-world consequences to not getting this done today? If the answer is yes, and it's a consequence you want to avoid, like losing your job, paying a fine, or going to prison, then by all means leave the task on your urgent list and get it done as soon as you can. If the answer is yes, but the consequences are psychological or emotional, in other words, I'll feel bad, it'll mean I'm lazy, it'll prove I'm not motivated enough to succeed, just pat yourself on the back for trying to motivate yourself through self-inflicted pain. But know that you will almost certainly procrastinate on this task until either it becomes genuinely urgent or you genuinely want to do it and get it done. So will this actually help you get more done? Probably not, though you will feel a lot better within the week because you haven't got the stress. Will it help make you more successful? Almost certainly. When you work with your own inner rhythms, take the right action at the right time in the right place with the right people, for every effort you make, you will reap huge rewards and feel far less stressed about it. Of course, there is another way. This is the 4Ds approach. This is where we do, we defer, we delete, or we delegate. The approach definitely helps. And I'm sure we all know those people who use the delegate approach for almost everything on their to-do list. Yeah, you might have a very important task that only you can do, one that you're not really looking forward to doing. If we put that task off, it'll be on our minds whilst we attend to other tasks. You'll probably be constantly thinking about it. Then we'll be able to blow it out of all proportion and become even more stressed and anxious about it. So take a leaf from Brian Tracy's book, Eat That Frog. The premise being that if the worst thing you had to do each day was to eat a live frog, if you left it till the end of the day, you'd spend the entire day dreading it. It would be all you'd think about all day. The answer, get the most onerous, unpleasant task out of the way first. Then, once you've dealt with that, everything else will seem so much easier. And what if many of your tasks are frogs? Well, choose the biggest and ugliest them to start with. Then work your way through them until you're done. Simple as that. A client of mine, actually, he said, I've got so many big, ugly frogs to deal with. I don't know where to start. So I said to him, choose the biggest and ugliest one. And he said, well, still don't know which one that is. I said, well, if you did know where to start, where would that be? He thought for a minute, then he smiled and he said, I know exactly what I should do. And I just left it with him. He knew all along where to start. And the important thing was that he did start something, somewhere. The following day, I received this message from him. Thanks for last night, pal. Saved our £2 million deal with the funder. Stopped them from pulling the plug due to so-and-so messing about with security. Saved us 120k with another deal. Had to redo it totally from scratch. Got 13k in revenue too on a separate deal. Might have a refinancing plan for Friday that'll save us 50k a month. Then I did some work. So I was steady all day, thanks to you. So we know this works. Well, that's all I really want to say about time management approaches to get your workload under control. Now, let's turn our attention to leaving work at work. We know that a huge problem that stokes the fires of stress and burnout is that many people take their work home with them, whether this be physically or mentally. Of course, some people can switch off totally from work as soon as they swipe out of the building or head out of the car park, even on a weeknight. So what are they doing that's different? Well, for some people, there's a signal that work is over and they are done for the day. Swiping out on the train, getting on a bus, getting in your car or on a bike, the barrier lift in the car park, closing the door on the office. Any one of these can be the signal that you're done for the day. A client of mine, actually, who travels through the Mersey Tunnel every day from the Wirral back into Liverpool, he says that as the barrier lifts, it swipes the slate clean and he leaves all of his nonsense and worries about work over there on the Wirral, drives through the tunnel, emerges on the Liverpool side and is looking forward to a nice evening with his family. That's his signal that he is done for the day. Then, of course, some people might have a ritual that lets them know that they're finished for the day. So it could be anything from shutting down the computer, it could be tidying the desk, it could be closing the drawers and cabinets and putting things away. It could be a saying. I've got a client of mine who really enjoys Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse's TV program, Gone Fishing. And he uses the little expression they use when they release a fish back into the river, when they say, "and away." And that's what he says to himself as he leaves the office, "and away." Home workers, it's a little bit different. What is it that you can do? Well, if you have a separate office, then close the door on that office. If you're working in the lounge, living room, or whatever, then put the computer away, put things away. Some people, home workers, actually have a change of clothes at the end of the day. They will literally go and totally change clothes. It's a way of saying, that's it, I'm done for the day and leaving work at work. What would work for you? Just think about that for the moment. But what about those programs and projects that take weeks, months, or years to complete? We need to recognize and acknowledge this and to know that at the end of each day, we are done for that day. Here's a couple of techniques I use that make it easier to experience the daily peace that comes with being done for the day. Take time to get complete with your life. This comes from the idea of many personal development programs, recovery programs, coaching courses, and there's a notion of being complete in your life. These programs encourage you to tie up every single loose end, make amends for every wrongdoing, and even phone or otherwise contact every person with whom you have unfinished business. For some people, this could be a very, very big task. Well, as you're working towards completing your life, and even if you're not, an excellent practice is to begin dealing with potential incompletions and distractions as they arise. Simply making the tying up of loose ends a daily, weekly, or even a monthly priority will go a long way towards bringing you a sense of peace and ongoing peace in your life. Or you could learn to be complete for now. This is a less daunting and more immediate practical version of being complete in your life, being complete for now. Sometimes problems, issues, and other things can't be resolved in a matter of minutes, but you can get to a place of peace with them anyway. There are essentially three ways of doing this. The first is to take a step in the right direction. This could involve making a plan, doing a bit of research, making a preliminary phone call, or completing one part of a larger project. The important thing is that you are doing something. I'm sure you've heard the quote, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step." So each day, take that step. The second way is to repeat a simple daily action. With large goals or projects, knowing that you've done something every single day towards your desired end result can often be enough to give you a sense of peace in relation to that larger goal. Sometimes when it seems almost impossible to move forward, the satisfaction of completing something is all that is required. For example, I encouraged a particularly stressed client to ensure that all the filing cabinet drawers were closed before he left the office. As simple as it sounds, it gave him an unconscious feeling of putting things to bed for the evening and meant that as he drove home, he could turn his thoughts to family time. The third way, of course, is choosing to put things down for now. In the theatre, actors are encouraged to leave their problems in the wings when they go on stage so they can commit themselves completely to the world of the play. We can use this same facility in our lives by choosing to put down our mental baggage outside the meeting room or the workplace and redirecting our attention to being where we are. This then allows us to be completely present with whatever it is we're doing. You may have seen the videos circulating recently on LinkedIn, actually, of a parent preoccupied with their phone while a small child clamors for their attention. There's a notable difference in the interaction when both the parent is totally present and in the moment with the child. If the thing that we're preoccupied with is important, it will still be there waiting for us when we're done with whatever it is we're choosing to deal with instead. So, in summary, today, make your to-do list and assign Covey quadrants. Examine your A-list tasks and decide, what are the real-world consequences to not doing them? If there are any, then do them. If there are not any real-world consequences, then you may defer them until later. Are there any of your A-list tasks that could be done by someone else? If so, delegate those tasks. Make a list of people with whom you have unfinished business. These may be the people you would dread hearing from when you answer the phone or something along those lines. Choose one of these people each day or week and write, phone, or otherwise contact them to resolve the situation. It's about getting complete with your life. Throughout the day, notice what, if anything, comes between you and a sense of peace. Make a note of what it is, then take at least one action towards a solution. Experiment and find out what you need to do to feel complete for now. Next, practice putting down your mental baggage before any personal interactions you have scheduled today. If you find this difficult, decide whether to postpone the interaction and go and take care of whatever it is that's on your mind, or to continue practicing until this is second nature for you. Next, choose a moment sometime today to call, text, or otherwise message those that you appreciate most. It may be a loved one. It may be a member of your own team that quietly gets on with things. Or it may be the person you just delegated those unwanted tasks to. Simply send them your appreciation or love as appropriate. Finally, if you'd like help dealing with any of the issues raised today, do get in touch. You can email us at inquiries@nlpliverpool.com, or you can telephone us on 0151 931 5184, or check out our website. We love talking all things NLP and personal development. Our next workshop is on the 29th of November, 7 o'clock till 8:30 or 9 on Zoom, where we'll be looking at goal setting for 2024 and beyond. You can follow the Eventbrite link from our company page on LinkedIn or our website. It would be great to see you there. Thank you for joining us. Stay well, and that's it from me. I'm done for the day, so goodbye.